Hey Dan, how are you?
Good, Matt. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Today I'm excited because we're talking about Beetlejuice 2. And I know what some of you might be thinking. Beetlejuice 2, that's not out yet. Well, exactly. So we're here to tell you everything we know so far about Beetlejuice 2. We're going to discuss confirmed cast members. We're going to discuss the release date. Is it or is it not filming currently? And our general thoughts on the project, I think. Um, Dan, are you excited for Beetlejuice 2? What are your thoughts about this movie finally happening some 40 years later almost?
It's like we're living in a dream, Matt. We're coming out of I know we just watched The Flash where Michael Keaton made a resurgence as Batman, and it was a kicked around idea that Batman was going to be brought back, the Michael Keaton version, for another film, depending on how this did the box office. And while it doesn't look like we're going to get that, at least not yet, who knows? Kevin Smith might still pursue the idea. You never know what he might pull out of the box, but with this particular film, Beetlejuice, I am a Tim Burton fan through and through. Beetlejuice was done really well. And there are certain things I know we're going to touch on when we're talking about this back and forth that I was really excited to see. In particular, Michael Keaton's own take on how this is going so far. So, really, really looking forward to it. Just like with all these things going on right now, we see Indiana Jones will be coming to the theater. It's a lot of nostalgia, but we know, on the other side of that, how Kayla had mentioned to us, Jurassic World, not so much the first one, but the second and third, especially, where you might get into trouble with that and you tarnish the reputation of a franchise. But let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope we have, especially since we're talking a little bit of a horror movie here, that it has a scream effect and it just stays good throughout. So
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, no, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. A lot of these franchises are bringing back multiple sequels, like the Jurassic Worlds or the Halloweens. Um, the first one back starts off really strong, and then the more sequels you get, it kind of goes eh. I could say Scream really that hasn't done that. They've been able to avoid, I think every single entry has been decent. Um, Indiana Jones, I think, we know is only getting one, so we're about to see how that turns out. Flash, unfortunately, probably isn't going any further than it is with the box office numbers it's doing. But with with Beetlejuice, I mean, I would think this is a one and done, but at the same time, who knows? This could make all the money, and they greenlight two more sequels.
well, I think it's worth it to mention at this point, this isn't the first time they've tried to get a sequel going for Beetlejuice. I think what was it, the early '90s? They were talking about Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii,
Yeah,
and then they tried to get the ball rolling again. The late 2000 teens. I think they were trying to film it again. That kind of fell apart. And I know that Tim Burton himself was quoted as saying that he just didn't think that it was ever going to happen.
right. And I think really it was when uh it was during Dumbo, ironically enough, when Burton and Keaton teamed back up for the live action Dumbo a few years ago. There was a press interview where an interviewer asked Tim Burton if he would ever revisit the Batman, or he asked Burton and Keaton if they would ever revisit the Batman or Beetlejuice worlds. And Burton was just kind of played it off like, I don't think anybody wants to see that. Keaton was genuinely interested, which is what I think ultimately brought him back to the Flash. And I think it might have even put in Burton's mind, like, well, hey, if Michael's down, then, you know, why not? Because really, that's the first Dumbo was the first time those two had worked together since Batman Returns in '92. So it's exciting to see Keaton and Burton together again, which we'll just jump right in. Some of the news or some of the things we know confirmed about this movie is the cast. We don't know everybody, of course, but we do know that Michael Keaton is returning as the ghost with the most, Beetlejuice. It's not known if he's going to have a larger part in this film. I know in the original movie he was only in it for like what was it, like 17 minutes or something, out of the whole hour and a half movie. But you feel his presence throughout the entire film. They did it extremely well. So you don't, for a movie called Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice is only in it, not even 20 minutes. That's kind of impressive that you still feel like he is. Like you watch, someone tells you that, and if you don't already know it, you're like, what? No, he's in that way longer than that. No, he's not. He's hardly in it at all. He's in at the end. Like if you really watch that movie, he's at the end. Like you see him sprinkled through the middle. He's not in the beginning at all. Um, so Michael Keaton's coming back. Also coming back, we have, you guessed it, Winona Ryder is returning as Lydia Dietz. Um, we have Images, which I'll go ahead and talk about. Is this filming? Yes, they are filming now. It started filming. Go ahead.
And boy, oh boy, it looks like we just picked up the same hairstyle where we left off.
Yes, yes, I was going to touch on that. Yes. Yeah, so this started filming back at the end of May, and they're still in production. In fact, Michael Keaton missed the US premiere of The Flash because of Beetlejuice 2 filming conflicts. So they're well underway, which is just crazy to think about that it's happening, right? I mean, because this is literally, like you said, been talked about since the 90s. Um, and we got a picture. I'll put it up on the screen, of Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz in a car. We don't know who she's in the car with or what's going on in the scene, but she's dressed exactly like she was the last time we saw her as Lydia. So I don't know if this is like a flashback, or if she really is 35 years later just dressing and wearing her hair exactly the same as she did back in 1988, which I think is a little unrealistic if that's the case. But hey, I mean, I've also had a shaved head since I was 12. So there's that.
Well, on that note too, I know I'm probably going to interrupt you and steal a little bit of your thunder on this part. I know that Gina Davis had said in an interview that popped up, it was asking, would you be interested in doing the role? And I think she responded, yes, I would be interested in doing the role. But the problem is that when I played that character, we were already deceased. So it's
Right.
very hard to explain away, how a ghost were to age. And I know a lot of things are being done now, especially with, again, we just talked about Indiana Jones too, about coming back and de-aging and all that kind of thing. But it's just very interesting that they went back, and I know you said maybe a flashback with Lydia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just interested to know maybe if they pop in, but I do know as of right now, at least Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin had not been confirmed from the
That
original.
is that is correct. They are not confirmed, but I mean, I don't know if they'll go that route. The logical sense says no, don't do it. Because unless you can do it darn well, like Marvel style well, to de-age them, to make them look like they did in that first movie, then don't do it. And I know Burton probably doesn't have a Marvel style budget to do that. So much so that, another fact about this is that, Keaton confirmed that they're doing it exactly like they did the original. And what he means by that is practical effects and really little to no CGI. Everything that you see will be actually like there, like puppets or whatever the scenario is. It's not going to be like a bunch of computer, fake, effects.
I'm sure that makes it more fun to be on set when you get to look around you and see. And I don't know, like that was one of the appeals for me watching the original Beetlejuice was just the aesthetic of it and
Yeah,
how, even especially when they viewed in on the little town and then you saw the close up where Beetlejuice is like reaching out through the ground, grabbing the fly and everything like that.
right.
It's very well done. And, Tim Burton, this is his strong suit, honestly, in all of his movies. I think that definitely playing that's a good idea for this as well.
Rest of the cast, well, I'll name out the last returning cast member that we know about, and then I'll knock out the new ones really quick. We do know that, the legendary Catherine O'Hara is returning as Lydia's stepmother, Delia Dietz. which I didn't know about originally until just recently. So I think that's awesome. I didn't know
Yeah,
she
did that
was.
news just drop? Because I didn't
I
see that
It
either.
didn't just drop, but it's fairly recent.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I didn't know that originally, but I think that's a awesome. I love Catherine O'Hara. Now, her character on screen husband will clearly not be in this movie. We won't talk about it here, but if you want, just Google Jeffrey Jones and you'll know why. um, the new cast, the only one that I mean, I don't want to say the only one, but the biggest name is by far Jenna Ortega. It has, it seems almost typecasting, but who cares? It's perfect. She is set to star as Lydia's daughter. Um, and if you see the light flashing on my face, I'm switching back and forth between screens, just FYI.
And
um,
that's pretty exciting. I mean, Jenny. Hey,
Maybe
Jenna
she goes by
Ortega.
Jenny, you never know.
She's definitely making a way or a name for herself in the horror industry, and the comeback, to get to star with Michael Keaton and kind of get put into that, that's just like a whole nother crazy.
Yeah, like yeah, work with Tim Burton, all those Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, like all these legendary people, you know, early on in her career is huge. Plus, she's already worked with a ton of big names just in the stuff she's already done. She's quickly rising and growing, and from the Scream franchise to the Wednesday Netflix show, she just seems like she's going to be everywhere. And I think as long as this movie does fairly well, this will be no different. This will just put her even further up the ladder. The rest of the cast, Willem Dafoe is joining this as an unknown character. Um, that could be fun. I think he's supposed. I think I read he's supposed to be a ghost. He's not going to be like a live living person. He's going to be a deceased member of the
The,
afterlife.
the rumors are that he's going to be some sort of law enforcement for the afterlife.
I did hear that. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's not officially listed, but I did hear that same. So it could that could be it.
And we've seen Willem Dafoe play kind of like definitely a law enforcement role before. And I think that honestly his style is going to be what it needs to be like the strange and unusual. And
Right.
he definitely can pull off the strange and unusual.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That was a throwback to the movie. We've got Justin Oh, I'm gonna
Thoreau,
is it Thoreau?
I believe so. You will
Okay.
correct me, Lady in the
Yeah,
Tramp?
yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew she would probably know. Uh so yeah, Justin Thoreau is joining. Does he have a I don't have any character information for him either yet.
He's the only one I don't think we have any kind of information on whatsoever.
Okay. So that could be something. Is he how old is he?
It's a good question.
Does he fit in the more like possible love interest for maybe not even be a love interest at all? I
Not
may just be
sure.
speculating, but like could he be a love interest for Lydia, or is he too old or too young for her? Is
He could definitely be a love interest for Lydia. Yeah, she's saying that or he could be a love interest. He starred in
He was married to Jennifer Aniston.
okay.
Married to Jennifer Aniston. He was
So
in the
yeah.
mystery film Mulholland Drive, horror film Inland Empire. Also appeared in films such as Rami and Michelle's High School Reunion, American Psycho. Okay, all
So
right.
yeah, he could definitely it could be a potential love interest. We don't know. But potential husband, maybe Jenna Ortega's father, we don't know.
And he's 51 years old.
Maybe that's Jenna Ortega's baby daddy or baby daddy. Oh geez, maybe that's Lydia's baby daddy.
Whoa.
um and then we've got Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, that's Tim Burton's girlfriend.
Is it?
Yep, yep. He's been with her for a little while now, and now that we're on that segue, as of now, I know it's going to break a lot of people's hearts. I know a lot of people are wondering or interested to know, is this going to have Johnny Depp in it, and is it going to have Helena Bonham Carter in it?
Yeah.
And no, as of right now, they are not confirmed to be in this.
Yeah, I know Johnny Depp and Carter both were both heavily rumored in the early stages for this, but I mean, I honestly don't think it needs either one of them. Um, I mean, would it be interesting to see Johnny Depp work with Michael Keaton, kind of Tim Burton's two biggest go-tos? Like that'd be cool, but I don't think the movie doesn't need it. put them in another movie together. It's totally
I
separate.
think at that point, like even with Willem Dafoe in it, you do too much, you start to take away from
Yeah,
what
I
made
agree.
Beetlejuice special.
I
So
agree because I mean you had the name power, but if you think about it, back then those names weren't what they are now. Like Alec Baldwin wasn't Alec Baldwin. Gina Davis wasn't Gina Davis. Not even Michael Keaton was really, he was just barely Michael Keaton, you know? So like the name power there wasn't as huge as it is now. So you know, you don't want a lot of big names to kind of take away from the story and what's from the movie itself when you already have the returning big names that you have. Um, so that's really all the cast. Well, there is Leah Perkins who's going to play a funeral mourner that's listed on IMDb. I don't know if that's of any significance, but she's there, so we'll give her the credit there. Um, it is going to be directed, obviously, we've stated by Tim Burton. He is returning. I know Keaton said that he would only do this if Tim Burton directed. So,
um
hello.
that I'm sorry, I'm kind of going back on you to back up 1 second. The young lady, Mr. Tim Burton's girlfriend there,
Yes, Monica Bellucci.
her role, I believe, was to be, and you might have already said it, the
Beetlejuice's
wife
wife.
of
Yes.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of glossed right over that. Yeah, like so Beetlejuice has a wife now, evidently.
Is she human? Is she ghost? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I never even thought about what if she's human. Like I just assumed automatically she'd be a deceased, but maybe she's alive.
Kayla's back here saying that she's a sandworm.
Oh,
Well,
that could,
actually, I guess that makes sense to how, well, not necessarily, but I mean, we were introduced to sandworms in the movie. I don't think they expounded on that as much as they did in like the animated series,
yeah,
but
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be funny. Um, so yeah, Beetlejuice is getting a wife. Tim Burton's coming back to direct. Our writers here are Alfred Goff or Go. I'm not sure how he says that. We got Seth Graham Smith and David Katzenberg as the writers. David Katzenberg sounds very familiar to me. Oh, he is a producer known for It, the 2017 It. So that's who that is. That's why I know that name. Um, so he helped write the script. Um, so that's exciting. I thought the It movie was, of course, he produced it. He didn't write it, but I
and
thought,
your man Seth Graham Smith, apparently best known for writing Pride and Prejudice, Zombies, and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
hmm, okay, cool. Yeah, I see that. Oh, he also wrote Dark Shadows with Tim Burton, that had Johnny Depp.
I mean, you got all the elements here. You could really kick off something good.
Speaking of all the elements, is it a Tim Burton film or a Beetlejuice film without Danny Elfman doing the music? Danny Elfman has confirmed that he is currently working on a Beetlejuice 2 score, and he says he's excited and thrilled to be back into that world doing new music for that. So that's awesome. Um, that's kind of all I know right now as far as like people involved in the movie. So we're gonna go on the release date. This does have a release date. It is, I just gotta find it now. September 6th, 2024 is the release date. So we're just over a year away, which makes sense. Especially if they're just now filming, they'll need post production, editing, all that kind of thing. So just over a year from seeing it, but the fact that we're going to see it at all is still mind boggling. If you grew up with this movie, even if you didn't grow up with this movie, I can't imagine that you haven't heard of it. Like just the name power it has is just one of those movies. Is one of those iconic '80s movies that you know, like I said, even if you haven't seen it, you at least know about it. It's the spooky, kooky Tim Burton ghost movie.
It's a
Uh,
ghost with the most, man.
Ghost with the most, babe. That's what he says. I'm the ghost with the most, babe. Um, what else? I let's see. It's going to be coming strictly to theaters. But then once, of course, it'll be going to Max, and then I also read possibly Hulu once it's available. Once it's done its theater run. But I mean, that's kind of it. That's kind of where we are. We don't know a whole lot more at this time. We'll probably definitely follow back up as it gets closer to next year with a new episode of new updates and new cast members and whatever else we might know. We'll probably get a plot by then. We may even do a trailer reaction when the time comes. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot more to cover on this. We're just really right now in the early stages. We're just enough starting to crack open that we can be like, oh, let's talk about this. Um, so it's exciting. It's exciting time if you're a Tim Burton fan. It's exciting time if you're a Michael Keaton fan. It's exciting time if you're a movie fan, really.
And then, honestly, if you guys are becoming a fan of this or you want to hear more, as more information or details come on to us, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Follow this channel. We talk a lot about different movies. Right now, it just seems like we're in the era of Michael Keaton. I know Matt's got to be
This
living his
is
best life right now. If you don't know, he's a huge Michael Keaton fan, which, man, oh man. Yep, right behind him. It's
yeah.
kind of creepy, but
Uh
yeah.
we are in a Michael Keaton renaissance, and I'm here for every minute of it, baby. Um so that's I think that wraps it up. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before
I
we
mean, at this point, like I said, it's one of my favorite directors, one of your favorite actors. The last thing, that is what I want to say. I know you had broke part of the quote when you were talking about it earlier, but they asked Michael Keaton, how it was, and he said it was effing great. He said that he has not had this much fun filming in a very long time. And I gotta think, what made Beetlejuice so awesome was that a lot of his lines and deliveries and things of that nature were either riffing off the other actors, they were improvised, there were things they came up with on the spot. And Tim Burton's known to be that type that, if you go to him and he's like, hey, I think this is how we should approach this, usually he's going to follow his actors. And that's why he builds such solid relationships with the actors that he works with that they feel comfortable with each other to make these changes. And if Michael Keaton is happy, that just builds the prospect, I think, of delivering the sequel that this deserves, rather than the sequel that we're gonna remember as, wow, we just downed another franchise.
I hope so. I hope so. Because I think we all agree not everything needs to be franchised. Not everything needs the sequel. This movie, I will tell you, and I'm a fan and I'm here for it. This movie doesn't need a sequel. But if it's getting made anyway, I'm gonna be there for it and I'm gonna support it. And I just hope that it's worth it. Give me something like a Scream or like the first Halloween movie where it was really good. Give me something that's like really good, and then just don't touch it again anymore. So we'll see. Guys, like Dan said, like, comment, subscribe. We're posting new videos pretty much on a weekly basis. And we're going to be doing new movies. We're going to go back to old movies. I know we've been doing a lot of new movies recently with The Flash and Indiana Jones coming up. And we've got, what else did we do besides The Flash? We did something else new, didn't we? Did we not? Maybe we didn't. I don't know. It's in the archives. Go check out the YouTube page. It's youtube.com/picture this film reviews. The name of the page is Matt Knows Best. Everything I've ever made is on there, including every single episode of this, even when it was the MDVA Movie Club, even when it was Two Nerds in a Movie. It's all there right at your fingertips. So what are you waiting for? If we have nothing else, guys, everyone have a great week. We will be back next week. And oh, this has been Picture This Film Reviews. I didn't even say that in the beginning. Welcome to Picture This Film Reviews, everybody. Everyone have a great week. And of course, love one another.